Freedom of expression is a prerequisite in a democratic dispensation. It allows for pluralism where citizens can dialogue, in some instances engage in critical analysis of political, economic, and social climate prevailing within a state. Freedom of expression also means that citizens can, if they so choose, to manifest their anger over issues by protesting in the streets. The government, on the other hand, is responsible to safeguard and protect these fundamental rights of its citizens. The Gambia under President Barrow has not been too tolerant of protestation, and this, according to John Charles Njai, chairperson of civil society organization, is a stain on the democratic credentials of the current government. Yahya Jammeh has more details of that in this report.
In the Gambia, protests are allowed by law, but they must be sanctioned and controlled by the state as per the Public Order Act. Protest organizers are required by law to seek permission from a government official, and they must also identify the protest route they intend to take, as well as time of the protest to ensure a well-coordinated manifestation on the police escort. While this may seem like allowing for a peaceful manifestation, this legal provision also allows government officials to deny permits to groups and organizations that are either opposed to it or who simply want to express their concern about a grave national issue from pouring out into the streets to protest. And for John Charles Njai, chairperson of civil society organizations, this legal bottleneck added to the current heavy-handedness towards anti-government protesters in the country is a stain on the democratic credentials of the Adama Barrow-led government.
The Gambian people must be allowed to express themselves freely and responsibly. I know the president made a statement that when he wins and comes into power, that protests are going to be stopped. And we see signs that there is a deliberateness from the security outfits to quell protests.
Under the rule of former President Yahya Jammeh, security forces were often used to quell protests. John Charles Njai reminds members of the security forces that the Gambia cannot return to those days.
You know, after 22 years being caged, after 22 years when the men in this country were accused of not being men, and after the Gambian people have done what is right by them in December of 2016, I see no institution, no government, no security outfit that can take the Gambian people back to 22 years of dictatorship. So let me advise the men and women in the security, you cannot cage the Gambian people.
John Charles Njai therefore warns the Gambia government to be responsive to the plight of Gambians, as a failure to do so will have undesired consequences.
If the government of the Gambia fails to hear the voices of the masses, if the government fails to hear the cries of the poor people, if the government fails to hear that there are people going to bed hungry at night and waking up in the morning hungry, if the government fails to hear that the people are tired, the people are distressed, that the young people are unemployed and prices keep rising, if the government fails to hear the cry of the Gambian people, then they will have what will come to them. So allow the people to express themselves in protest.
Democratic governments allow for divergent views on an array of issues, and that is good for social, political, and economic advancement, says John Charles Njai. There is absolutely nothing wrong with people differ in opinion saying so responsibly. Reporting for Eyeafrica News.